Hi there, this is Michelle Hocko with Remax Real Estate Center. I hope that you're having a great day. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm excited about today. We're going to have a really special guest on, Lorri Fleming from the Womb in Milton. And she is going to talk with me today about how to get that at-home feeling at home, and physically and emotionally. And that's sometimes a bit of a thing that people need to work on. Not all moves are because somebody, has found this perfect home and they're sort of moving up to something else. And then even when they do, and that is the circumstance, sometimes it takes a while to really get settled in a new place and feel at home. But a lot of times there's other circumstances. Maybe you're moving for work, or because your life circumstances have changed, or a job loss or something like that, and you're stepping into a new home and it maybe wasn't exactly how you wanted it to happen or what you wanted. And it sometimes takes a little bit of time to connect with the idea of moving to a new place. So I'm going to invite Lorri on now and we will begin the discussion. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments and I will do my best to read them as we are talking. And if you see my eyes moving on the screen, that's why I'm trying to look at the questions section of the screen as well. There might be a couple of noises in the background today, so I apologize about that in advance, but we'll do our best and hopefully the audio is a little bit better from my system today. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce Lorri Fleming. Lorri is one of the co-founders of The Womb, World of My Baby, here in Milton, Ontario, and they also have a location in Burlington. This is a wellness center that has, my goodness, any sort of any sort of practitioner that you'd probably be looking for to maintain your health and your wellness. Things like osteopathy, chiropractic, they have naturopaths there, they do yoga, they have midwives, they have doulas. There's a ton of things there for the whole family, not just expecting mothers. So, the name sort of maybe suggests that it's just that prenatal period, but it really is something so much bigger and it is for the whole family. So I would highly recommend checking out that wellness center if you live in Milton or Burlington. Lorri is also a wellness advocate for doTERRA and is really excited about that and all of the benefits that can offer people as well. So hopefully she'll talk to us a little bit about that also. So I will invite Lorri on now. Thank you for joining me, Lorri. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Michelle. It's great to speak with you.
Yeah, very nice to speak with you. So you proposed this topic of how to feel more at home. And it's funny, it piqued my curiosity at first because I'm thinking, what exactly do you mean? And then I started thinking about it and I really thought, you know what, that is a great topic. And nobody really ever talks about it. Like we talk about all the practical aspects about moving. And, there's a lot to that, of course, and all the technical details, but we don't really dive into the emotional aspects of it. We started to dive into the possible physical aspects of it when we were talking with Amy the other day and how to protect your health. But like, what about your emotions? This is a very interesting topic as well. So why don't you sort of describe what you were talking about when you kind of had sent that topic forward?
Sure. Well, I think that feeling at home is definitely a mindset, right? It's something that we notice a big difference on how we're feeling emotionally and how that plays a role as whether we're feeling like we're in a safe, loving space or whether we're feeling like we're not at home and this is not feeling homey at all. I have quite a bit of experience in this field, Michelle. My dad was, I don't know if anyone remembers Eaton's Menswear or Eaton's department store, but my dad worked for Eaton's when I was growing up. So he was transferred a lot. We moved I was born in North Vancouver and then we moved to Vernon and Victoria and back to North Van and Lynn Valley and then huge move across the country to Ontario when I was 13. So as I was about to go into high school there and then came here for grade 8. So big transitions. And I remember one of the things that stood out to me is how different the mindset was for myself as it was for my brother. And the role that played in how we adapted to our new environment. And then again, as an adult, Scott and I have moved a lot. So we have 2 kids who are now adults, and our most recent move was here to Milton, Ontario 4.5 years ago, which is actually where Scott and I met 27 years ago. So come full circle.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we used to run the Pizza Hut that used to where Rad Brothers is right now.
Really?
I used to run that. So I feel like I've kind of come home, even though I've never lived in Milton.
Although a different town than it was.
It was so different. People used to pull into the Pizza Hut in their tractors. No kidding. Like, it was all farmland around us. So yeah, Milton's changed a lot. But I think that mindset, I remember every time I moved, I was excited for the move, and I'm still excited. I think Scott and I have moved, or not Scott and I, but I have moved about 20 times, and Scott and I think, are in our 9th home together. So, and that's in 26 years of marriage. So, and I've always been excited to move. So I think that comes from being able to be adaptable, and from the history of moving, that's helped me to be, to know that I can adapt to my environment, and that who I bring to the environment plays such a big role. So do you want me to tell you the story about that really helped me when I was growing up about moving and taking the mindset part of it?
I would love to hear that, because for me to think, even in considering moving eventually our own children, it seems like such a transition for a young person. So I don't know, did you find it very difficult to make new friends? Like, was that an exciting piece for you? I do want to hear the story, absolutely. But then I'd love to talk to you about how you've sort of figured out how to build yourself new communities every time you landed in a new place, because that's a whole
right
itself, I would say.
Right. Well, I know also I'm a parent educator, and I know that one of the things that made a difference with me moving as a young child a lot was my parents' attitude. So that, we know that our parents' emotions, we definitely take on our parents' emotions, and we can feel what they're feeling. So although I know that, there was some nervousness, and there was some, anticipation about what these moves were going to bring, my parents always framed it in a way of, look where we're going. They showed me pictures of how beautiful it was. They showed me different things. I know when we were moving to Ontario, because my dad was going to be, getting a raise, it meant that I could sign up for more dance. So they definitely spoke to my core values, and that were really important to me about what we were going to be able to do in our new home, in our new environment, in a way that spoke to me on what was important. So the story I remember growing up, my mom and dad listened to Dr. Wayne Dyer. I'm sure that people who are going to listen to this are familiar with Dr. Wayne Dyer, but he told a story once that he lived in Boca Raton. He later in life lived in Maui or in Hawaii, but when he lived in Boca Raton, he said that a lady came up to him on the beach and said, you live in Boca Raton. What's Boca Raton like? We're thinking of moving here. Yeah. And he said, oh, where are you from? And she said, oh, from, I can't remember where it was, but like Memphis. And he said, what's Memphis like? And she said, oh, it's just amazing. I love Memphis. She said, the people are fantastic. I've got great neighbors. I love my job. There is sunshine all the time. It's so beautiful. I absolutely love it. And he said, oh, you're absolutely going to love Boca Raton. The people are great. Your neighbors are going to be wonderful. You're going to love where you're coming from. And then he said a week later, he ran into somebody else, and a lady stopped him and said, oh, you live in Boca Raton? And he said, yeah, I do. And she said, we're thinking of moving to Boca Raton. What's it like? And he said, oh, where are you from? And she said, oh, I'm from Kalamazoo And he said, what's it like there? And she said, it's horrible. She said, the people aren't friendly, and I don't really like my neighbors, and I'm so glad I can leave this job that I'm in, and it's dark and it's dreary, and I don't like it at all. And he said, Boca Raton's pretty much the same. And it was, it was interesting because to me that really hit home that it was you bring you to where you are, right? You're going with you. So it's not so much about your surroundings. It's not so much about the people, although, I have to say there's a lot we can do to fit into our surroundings and fit into our community. That makes a difference, but you're still taking you with you. So that's what I meant by feeling at home is a lot about mindset, and a lot about working on yourself and working on who you are and the things that are important to you, and surrounding yourself with things that are loving and lovely and homey.
And I think that's really interesting. So it's that whole idea of law of attraction, obviously, and also, you know, what you prioritize. So expecting the best, you're probably going to get the best, and expecting the worst, you're definitely going to get the worst. I love that story. That is such a smart story.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's all right. I was just going to say, and the whole core values thing is, you know, learn about what makes you tick, what your core values are, what your set of priorities are. And then search out those things that that fit into, you know, wherever you are. So, I mean, if I wasn't doing what I was doing, I'd probably do interior design. I love setting up my home in a way, and it doesn't have to be material things, but even little inexpensive things can make a difference in your home. With doTERRA that I'm in, I know that the smell is scents are huge. So we only use natural scents in our home, and in the doTERRA oils, I can put whatever I feel like. Like this morning, I put bergamot and green mandarin, and like have that, you know, fall. It feels like fall in here, so it smells and I feel it. It's as soon as I smell it, I'm like, ah. And lanterns. I don't know if you can see behind me. I surround myself. I love lanterns and pillows and.
And your whole surrounding is beautiful. It's funny how you say like what your core values are. So when I was thinking about this talk and what we were going to discuss, I was kind of thinking about me, right? So I haven't moved that many times. I tend to, and I didn't have a childhood where that sort of was necessary or happened. So we were kind of in that one home. And then my husband and I have only moved about 3 times. And I plant roots, right? Like, I just don't want to go anywhere. But when I do find myself in a new surrounding, it's funny, even just visiting a new place, for me, it's nature. So it's like, what can I find around me that is beautiful, right? So the inside of my home, while it is decorated a little bit, I'm not as good at being an interior decorator as you are. This is why I hired this out in my real estate practice, because I have the professionals handle that. I have some good ideas about setting up spaces for sale, but personally for me, instead of taking the time, you know, setting up a whole bunch of things in the home, I'd rather be out, you know, like seeing what's around. So it's kind of funny how people are different. But one of the things that I know that I also think is important when we're setting up our spaces or trying to get organized in a house, because it's not an overnight process, is to find yourself one space that you can kind of set up fully and make it your sanctuary so that at the end of the day.
And bring nature in, right? Like if you love nature, you know, add some more plants, add a picture that is of the forest or of somewhere that you love, or the lake or the water or the mountains or whatever it is that is your thing. Surround yourself with it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And then at least in all the chaos of moving, because sometimes it is that for a while when people are moving, and especially if they have to start into a new job right away or life is busy and they don't get a lot of time, at least having one really nice space where you can go to decompress at the end of the day, light some candles, you know, have your oils going, I think is a beautiful way to sometimes start getting settled as well. Now, one other thing that I found interesting, and you know, it's kind of the idea of making home anywhere. You're also a birth doula. I know it's you do that as well still. I know it's not your primary focus, but I know that you've done a lot with women, because we talked about it when you were maybe going to be my doula years ago, about what happens if, say, you've planned something like a home birth, and then, you know, your circumstances are going to change completely and you need to create home in a hospital room really quickly, right? So what are some of the things that you've seen people do in those circumstances that you were sort of impressed with that really made a huge difference to making people feel at home in a new space? I feel like it's kind of relevant because it's a bit of the same, right?
Yeah, you know what though? That's a great question. First of all, we should add that the only reason it wasn't your doula is because I'm allergic to cats. And when we had our first home visit,
I didn't even say that you didn't end up being. My God,
I would have loved to be your doula. I'm so allergic to cats that when someone's having a home birth, I just have to be. I know I have to be 100% for that family, and I know that when I'm compromised, I can't be 100%. So yeah, I do talk to my clients a lot over the last, I've been a doula for over 20 years. So I do talk to my clients a lot about setting up that home-like atmosphere wherever you are birthing. even if it's in a hospital. And so we can make hospital like home. I bring the candles that have the electrical candles, because you can't have real candles, but I mean, you can make beautiful, and those new string lights. I don't know if you can see. I've got them on my. Can you see those ones that are on the?
Oh, very quickly.
Yeah, like those lights. They're cheap and cheerful, but they're easy to get now. We bring those to a birth, and if someone's in the tub, you can string those around the room. Again, the scents. So some people are more sensitive to some scents. I know doTERRA being unadulterated and 100% whole. There's not very many people who are allergic, but we always ask the people, the birthing team that we're working with, to make sure they're fine. And also put, like, if we're going to use peppermint for increased energy or something like that, we would put it on a tissue. So it's something you can get rid of.
That makes perfect sense.
Anymore, right? Or when you don't want to smell that smell anymore, you can get rid of that one and start with a new one. But yeah, there's a lot of things you can do to set up your home and your hospital room or wherever you happen to be birthing to be that safe, loving environment, because that's important. I know that all mammals search out the spot where they are safe. They feel they're in their cave, right? So we can create that cave anywhere, and that's important to do, whether you're birthing or whether you're
just settling into a new space, right? It's finding that comfortable little sanctuary where you feel completely safe and comfortable and at home, right? So it is really a feeling, and it can be created anywhere. It's just we have to sometimes be intentional about it. Can I ask you a little bit about how then, moving so many times as a child and then as an adult, you were able to sort of build up new community? You had mentioned that when your parents were moving, and you were really involved with dance, I can imagine that would be a place where you'd be able to easily build community. But how did that feel to you? And what sort of strategies did you use to make new friends? I mean, if you were aware of it or not, or maybe you were just naturally attracting people because you're a very loving person, right? So it's not hard for people to want to be near you.
I mean, depending on when you move the first time probably is, that most challenging time. But once you've done it once, then you're like, oh, I know that I met new friends last time. I'm going to meet new friends this time. So that was dance did help for sure, because that was my community. That was my place where I felt like I could, that was the home away from home for sure. I think now with children, there's so many activities and things that you can get involved in. But even in your home as a family, here we've got the escarpment that's so close to us, and we can go hiking as a family, and we can go get involved. I remember when I was growing up, my mom was part of Newcomers. I don't know if Newcomers is around anymore, but there was this Newcomers group that they welcomed you wherever you were, and you got together. And I remember going to like monthly dinners with these new families and getting to know these new families, and that made a difference. And also now with online, there wasn't Facebook or Instagram at the time, but now like our Milton Mummies is a huge. I remember like people go on there even when they haven't yet moved to Milton, and they go on and say, I'm moving to Milton. And then I can't believe the amount of amazing women that there are that say, oh, I can't, let's get together for a play date. Let's get together. My kids are that age too. And so I think it's easier these days, but at the same time, as much as you develop that online community, you can still feel isolated. So getting out and getting in person with people.
I know Famazoo has some fantastic programs here in Milton.
They do some at the womb, and I know that a lot of times our womb families, if you're new to the area, in whether it's Burlington or Milton, or find a place like the womb, but the womb is definitely that village, right? It's that place that people can come and hang out, whether you're having a great day, whether you're having a really shitty day. You want someone to come, hold your baby here. I just need to cry for 10 minutes, or I want to laugh, or whatever it is. So going out to places like that where you can feed your baby, and you can meet lots of people. If someone came up to us and said, I'm new to the community, can you introduce me to people? It would be awesome. We'd love to do that. The Emerging Mothers group would be a great group, or the drop-ins, the free drop-ins every Monday. Those are great things to go out and just meet with people at no cost. And sorry, the emerging mothers, there's a cost, but the drop-ins, there's no cost.
Yeah, but the drop-ins there aren't. And even if you are someone, another avenue for people is to, like there's such great fitness communities here as well. Like I know Oxygen is one that people are
for sure. That's a
family there. It's so beautiful. And I know that like a lot of other, I'd say like kind of follow your interests. And this is funny. This is what I always tell my daughters as well. It's like, follow your interests and then meet friends along the way, right? Because those people are hopefully going to have things in common with you and be people that you want to be around. So, and it's funny, even with the Facebook groups, I mean, there's such specialized Facebook groups too, like there's the Halton area crunchy mommies, there's, like there's all the different religious mommies, like there's everything you could want. There's a great homeschooling community here if that's something that people want to be involved with. They're on Facebook, but then they also have like a whole WhatsApp conversation going on and they meet up fairly regularly at the sports center and different places in the community as well. So yeah, so that's kind of what I was thinking, like find your tribe. Do you have any other kind of thoughts or suggestions on this topic?
No, I think just to summarize, that is, like you just said, finding your tribe, developing that sense of community wherever you are and finding people who are like-minded, who share some of your core values as we met, surrounding yourself with the things that are important to you. Doesn't have to be a whole bunch of, material things. Can just be, anything from, I think I have a bit of a pillow obsession. I love pillows. Like it's cozy and warm and so they make me feel great. So whatever it is that makes you feel at home is what you need to surround yourself with. And hopefully the people that love and care about you the most and that you love and care about the most too.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join me. It's been a pleasure as always. And if you haven't been by the womb, I would totally suggest checking it out. Just dropping in to say hello. And you can look online to see all the different programs and practitioners that are available there. Also, one thing to note, because when I had my last baby just over 1.5 years ago, I badly needed massage therapy. I need this every time I have a baby. I don't know, and I was doing a lot of self-care prior to it anyway. But they have a great program where you can pay to have your really wee one kind of watched by somebody fully capable while you indulge in a little bit. I don't want to say indulge, sorry, while you take care of yourself, because if you are not taking care of yourself, you are not going to have much to bring to your new baby or to your children. So there is daycare available at the womb if you are there having a session or a treatment. And it is so incredibly affordable. I think it was $3 when I went there. Well worth it.
The cheapest babysitting anywhere. The cheapest child minding you can find would be at the womb. And it's free for members. So for $10 a month, people can come to unlimited programs and they get 10% off of products and they get a free either prenatal yoga or a parent and baby yoga class. And they get all of the, I think I said free drop-ins, but all of their appointments, we have free child minding for them. So it is definitely a very inexpensive program. And if someone really can't afford it, then our Angel program can help. So. Yeah.
And I think it's amazing because that's sometimes the difference between a mom being able to do the things she needs to do to actually take care of herself and not doing them. Because if dad's off to work, you have a baby, it's really, really difficult sometimes to get out and do the things that are necessary. Like I'm going to say that they're necessary, like they're not optional, they're not frivolous, they're 100% necessary. So something to do.
And you don't have to have an appointment either, Michelle, to come to the womb. So people can come and hang out. You do not have to be a member. You don't have to have an appointment. You can come and hang out. Meet up with friends, order a pizza, that sort of thing.
They have the whole community room and they have some lovely shopping there as well.
Fantastic.
So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
Take it easy.
Bye. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions for Laurie, just put them in the comments. If you have any questions for me, put them in the comments, and we will make sure to get back to you over the next couple of days. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.